Hello and welcome to tonight's yin class. Today we're going to be moving through a sequence with lots of different props and stuff. You can see I've got a whole bunch of stuff kind of lined up on the wall here. I've got the big, huge, kind of long tubular bolster, a block, a blanket, two other blocks that are of equal size. You could also just use like two hard blocks. And then these are buckwheat bolsters. Just want to have enough stuff that you can get into a place where you kind of Lego them together, essentially, like stack them all up and end up with a really supported position and really supported body and structure in all of these different postures that we're going to explore today. So the first thing we're going to do is just start with a seated meditation. Just come up onto some place on your bum. You can stay laying down on your back if you want to, but I'd suggest that you kind of sit up for now. And you can rest your hands on your thighs, let your shoulders relax. You can sit in a chair or just right on your yoga mat. So what's the first thing that you notice here? For me, it was my breathing. And for you, maybe it was something else. I want you to start to become more conscious and aware of the breathing. Like you have become super interested in the quality of the breathing. Not necessarily its length or depth or anything like that, but just the overall kind of feeling of the breath. And you might start to scan into your physical body, which kind of houses your breathing. Just ask yourself now if there's any areas of your physical body that need particular attention or care tonight. And remember to keep those areas in mind when we move into all these different yoga poses, so that you don't forget that all those little areas that you need to be aware of are really important in each posture. Let's take 3 breaths in and out through the nose, and then open the eyes if they're closed. Once you've opened your eyes, the first thing that we're going to do from here is move into a pose called Caterpillar. It's basically seated forward fold, but we're going to put lots of stuff underneath of the chest. So I'm going to demo all these bolster positions with you. So what I would do is take this, put it between the legs first. That's going to be kind of like our base, our kind of foundation. This would also be replaced with anything that can be dense. You can see when I push on it, it doesn't squish very easily. It's not like a pillow that you'd go to sleep on. It's much denser. So then you're going to take more things, stack them up, also on top of that. And you can keep going, right? If you've got lots of stuff like I do here, you're just going to keep stacking those things up until you can put them right in front of you, rest the arms on them, and then the forehead and chest. So you're going to bring the whole front of the body down right onto those bolsters. So ideally the whole forehead is really supported right into the ground. So when you push, when you let the forehead come down, you're feeling it come all the way down into the floor essentially, and there's no muscular tension that's left to kind of hang at the back of the neck because you're fully supported underneath of the face. So for this position, we should feel some opening in the back of the neck, the back of the head, the back between the shoulders, and then all the way down the spinal area towards the hips. And then you might feel a stretch on the back of your knees behind, up towards the back of the bum as well, in the hamstring area. So relax into the caterpillar, and I'll play you some music. Excuse me. Take maybe 1 or 2 breaths to kind of finish the posture like consciously. I always think that's a good thing to do at the end of these yin postures, because sometimes, I know when I kind of holding those poses for a while, sometimes the breath becomes just very passive and subtle, which is nice. But then it can be really good to end the posture with a few deeper breaths. So in and out through the nose once or twice, really right down all the way to the belly. And then you're going to gently lift yourself up from all of those bolsters and props. You can see that mine kind of toppled over. Like, what's that game where you pull the, is it Jenga? Next thing we're going to do is called frog pose. Now, if we were to say that we were good or bad at doing poses based on how we look when we get into them, you would maybe say that I'm bad at getting at this posture. But thankfully, we don't really base our poses off that. We base it off of what it feels like. But if you were to look up the classic kind of a photo of this posture, it wouldn't be what I end up kind of going into. Something close to it. But we're going to take the bolster. It's going to stay right here in front of us, in front of the body. I'm going to take this blanket, and I'm going to put it across my yoga mat, kind of like this. And it's going to go off the sides of the yoga mat. I need it to because my knees are going to be over there. So that's how we're going to want to set that up. We're going to then take the knees wide off the yoga mat onto those edges of the blanket that are hanging out there. We're then going to let our the front of our bodies come down onto the bolster, and we're going to essentially try to rest the whole body right onto this bolster. We're going to feel the groin muscles opening up. Now, some people will take the legs more to the side, like the shins move more outwardly. And then some people will even let the hips sink further down towards the floor if they're capable of going there. I'm not. I would want to actually put more bolsters underneath my chest here. So I would take the time to kind of do something like this. Thinking to myself, okay, this isn't high enough, right? So I'm just going to go up and up even more. And I can feel that just right in my body immediately as soon as I try to get into that posture. It's like there's tension all in my back, like, because I know I can feel the groin opening up, but being that low to the floor, for me, is creating tension elsewhere. And that's not what I'm looking to do here. So we're trying again. We go a little wider with the knees. Feet are kind of below the knees. And we're giving the front of the body a chance to come down onto those bolsters. This would be ideal for me. This is actually pretty comfortable. And then I can feel the groin muscles opening up without creating a ton of tension in the back of my body and head and neck. And I'm going to let the head hang all the way down so the chin is resting on the top of the bolster as well. And the whole front of your body can, the whole back of your body can really relax because the front of your body is so greatly supported. All right. Should fall to pieces, you know I'll pick them up. There are so many reasons I'm never gonna get enough. If you should leave this country, you know I'll come to you, because you always love me. I'll carry the weight, I'll do anything for you. My bones may break, but I'll never be untrue. Whoa, 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 whoa. Takes me home, whispering winds are blowing and then telling me that I'm not alone. Your love is like a river that I am floating shades of blue, different shades of blue. All the things I've never noticed, they open my ears up to the chorus. You have made me listen careful, and you gave me the light. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. Whoa, oh, 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 what I wouldn't do. All right, make your way out of frog pose just by pushing your palms back down on the floor and elevating yourself away from the bolsters, and then walk your knees back together. I'm sure your groin muscles could use some time off. We'll just bring the knees back close into tabletop position. Then we're going to turn around and lay on the back. We're going to do supported bridge next. So even the short amount of time that I was in that posture, I have to say I felt it like there was echoes of it as I was playing that last pose. I could feel kind of echoes of the groin opening. So it's definitely one to be aware of. That all these yin poses, we just want to be really aware of how deep we move into them. The next one is one of the best poses for yin in my opinion, because it's really hard to go too deep into it. So we're going to do supported bridge next. So we lay down on the back. We lift the hips up. We then take bolsters and we put them underneath of our hips. And we put them, go as high as we want. And there will be a point where you just can't really lift up and put any more under there, else the feet will start to lift off the ground and you just kind of be hovering there. But we could go in varying heights, whatever height you want to go to, and then extending the legs is optional at any point. So you can just kind of stay with the knees bent, or you can go and extend the legs and you'll feel the stretch changes. You can actually do a really good job at getting into the hips without lifting very high, just like I've got maybe 3 or 4 inches of bolster underneath my hips, and the legs extending all the way, palms face the ceiling, just like Shavasana, but we're lifting the hips upwards. And this is going to produce a little bit of a stretch just on that front of the body there. And so go ahead, lift as high as you want to lift. And take your time establishing that correct position. I like playing music for you here in this setting because I really don't feel like there's much rush. Just kind of going at a nice pace. This is the song I want to hear, actually. Yeah. So bridge pose, you're going to feel the hips opening, the front of the hip area, front of the stomach, front of the thighs. Essentially, front of the body. Lots of different areas. Up into the throat even, the neck. Bows and flows of angel hair, ice cream castles in the air, and feather canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's clouds, illusions that I recall. I really don't know cloud at all. Moons and Junes and Ferris wheels, the dizzy dancing way that you feel as every fairy tale comes real. I've looked at love that way, but now it's just another show. You leave them laughing when you go, and if you care, don't let them know. Don't give yourself away. I've looked at love from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow it's love's illusions that I recall. I really don't know love at all. Tears and fears and feeling proud to say I love you and write out loud. Dreams and schemes, circus crowds. I've looked at life that way, yeah. But now old friends are acting strange. They shake their heads, they say I've changed. But something's lost and something's gained in living every day. I've looked at life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life's illusions that I recall. I really don't know life at all. Maybe a deep breath in is a good decision. Filling up and emptying. And then we're going to go into what I have written down as a very supported reclining hero. I love how I wrote very. Very supported reclining hero. Can't just be supported, it's got to be very supported. So we're going to come up to the top of the mat with the knees eventually. To get out a supported bridge, just lift the hips, move the bolster out, put the hips back down, turn onto your side, and then walk up to the top of the yoga mat so that your knees are wide apart at the top and the toes touch together, kind of like this. Then you're going to take bolsters and place them right along here or so. Now, I would again take a ton more stuff. Like, I'm going to be careful. If I put all this stuff out and then I lay back, I sure ain't getting up. But this is the idea. You put all this stuff back behind you, you lean back, and it ended up supporting all the way behind the back, and ideally also behind the base of the skull. You can feel that kind of, there's this little ridge at the base of the skull, and it's kind of just behind that we want that, that bolster to be supportive. So we want that whole back body supported here so we can really feel opening up into the front. I brought my kalimba to the class today. And this one was made in South Africa. It's an instrument from that region. And I really love this one because my aunt gave it to me as a gift. And it was, I always love, one thing I always love is musical gifts, because they're always usable for me. And they're a great way that I can connect to something. So this little instrument is just really nice because you don't have to think too much when you play it. It's just all of the tines on the instrument, these little metal tines, are pre-tuned for you. And there's not much a mistake that you can make depending on how you tune it. One thing that's nice about this instrument as well is the ability that you have to kind of improvise while playing it. One other thing I love about this instrument is that that'll never be created again. That same thing, it's kind of just gone now. But that's what's so good about it, is that it doesn't need to become more than that. It's just part of this kind of experiencing the moment, experiencing that vibration that's happening off the tines, the physical vibration of the instrument in the hands, and just letting your mind go. This instrument is a great one to keep around if you don't think you're musical. Go get one of these. So let's come out of supported, let me correct that. Let's come out of very supported reclining hero. I know when I'm here in this position, I could probably stay for a little longer. So, if you're really craving that, you could do that. The nice thing, if you're taking the recorded version of this class, is you could pause it and just be like, I want to stay here for longer, and just stay. And then just, ready to go, press play. But the next thing we're going to do is Pigeon Pose from here. We're going to spend about 5 minutes per side of pigeon, so about a length of a song or so per side. And for pigeon, we want to feel the stretch in the bum muscle. It's primarily like the outer bum muscle, glute medius. And we can feel this also by doing thread the needle. But if you know thread the needle is your preference, you'll know that already. And so I'm going to explain pigeon. And then if you have questions, you can always reach out to me. So for pigeon, we're going to come up to tabletop position on the hands and knees. Bring the right knee up to the top right corner of your mat behind the hand. Swivel the right shin underneath the pelvis, so it's on an angle. And then we're going to try to use lots of props in this position as well. So we're going to take this one, and it's going to go underneath the hip and the bum at the same time. We're also going to take like a bean bag or something soft, like rolled up towel, and it's going to go back here, and that's going to be for the top of your ankle and your foot. And then we're going to take another bolster. This is, again, if you have access to this stuff, and it's going to go underneath your elbows. You're going to come down and rest like so. So we have really supported and squishy style of pigeon. Actually, for me, it kind of feels kind of dense, like it's really going down into the ground, instead of it being like almost like the subtle quiver in the body, like a subtle shaking can happen sometimes in these yin poses when the posture isn't supported greatly enough with bolsters and props and stuff like that. So I really encourage you to use those things. We've been playing some cover songs today, so we'll keep that going. This is a song I actually have played fairly recently. It's called King of Carrot Flowers. Did I play it last week? Maybe I did. Can't remember. By Neutral Milk Hotel. I know I played it recently because somebody commented on the back end and said, I love Neutral Milk Hotel. So this is... I can't remember the album name. Something about an airplane over the sea or something like that. But here it goes. This is called The King of Carrot Flowers by Neutral Milk Hotel. Carrot flowers, how you built a tower tumbling through the trees in holy rattlesnakes that fell all around our feet. Your mom would stick a fork right into Daddy's shoulder and Dad would throw the garbage all across the floor as we would lay and learn what each other's bodies were for. This is the room one afternoon I knew I would love you, and how above you, how I sank into your soul and hold into that secret place where no one dares to go. At least I can say I made a mistake on somebody else's song. Not my own. And Mom would drink until she was no longer speaking, and Dad would dream of all the different ways to die, each one a little more than he could dare to try. I sing along. A little higher. Sorry, Neutral Milk Hotel, for screwing up your song. Let's change sides of Pigeon. I'm not going to take the time to go into the pose because I just explained it and showed you how to do it on the other side. So we'll just efficiently change sides in your own way. Palms plant down, back to tabletop. Left knee goes forwards at the top of the mat. Then you diagonally swivel that left shin underneath of the pelvis. So it's kind of angled to the right side-ish. And then the bolster gets, again, replaced underneath the hips, chest, and back leg. So there's 3 points for the bolster. You can see them still mimicked here on the ground by my bolsters. So go ahead and set that up and get comfy into Pigeon. Let's keep the cover train rolling. Because why not? Got a few more covers. Could almost do a full set. Call all the ladies out, they're in their finery. 100 jewels on throats, 100 jewels between the teeth. I'll bring my boys in, their skin and craters like the moon. The moon will love like a brother while he glows through the room. Dancing around the lies we tell, dancing around big eyes as well. Even the comatose, they don't dance until we live in cities you'll never see on the screen. Not very pretty, but we sure know how to run things. Living in ruins of a palace within my dreams. And you know we're on each other's team. We're on each other's team. Whoa, whoa. So all the cups got broke, shards beneath our feet, but it wasn't my fault. Now everyone's competing for a love they won't receive. is what this palace wants. Israelis, we lived in cities you'll never see on the screen. Not very pretty, but we sure know how to run things. Living in ruins of a palace within my dreams. And you know we're on each other's team. 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 I'm kinda over getting told to throw my hands up in the air. So there, I'm kinda older than I was when I revealed without a care. So there, we lived in cities you'll never see on a screen. Not very pretty, but we sure know how to run things. Living in ruins of a palace within my dreams. And you know we're on each other's team. We're on each other's team. And you know, and you know, and you know. All right, out of pigeon. Back to tabletop position, please. So you're going to end up on the hands and knees. And then we're going to do two postures for the arms and the back and the chest. So we've a lot of the postures that we've done so far have been kind of groin, hips, and spine related. So we're going to try to get into the chest and shoulders and the arms. So let's go to tabletop position on hands and knees. And this one's called needle pose. It's also known as reaching under the bed to get your sock. This could actually happen to you, who knows? So you're on hands and knees in tabletop position. Supporting the knees would be great. So you can use your blanket, go underneath the knees with that blanket. It's gonna do you some good in the end, I promise. It also just support that area. You could also put something underneath the ankles if that makes sense to you, so that you could just rest the legs in a comfortable position. Then we're gonna reach the right arm up to the side, eventually to the ceiling, and then we're gonna reach this arm underneath of our left arm, and we're gonna kind of thread that needle, that gap between the knee and the palm. We're gonna reach under, and we're gonna let the right arm, the back of the forearm come onto the floor, and then the back of the upper arm and shoulder somewhere as well. So this is where the bolsters would come in very handy. You would take this bolster, put it probably kind of at an angled position so that you can feel a broad area of support. Maybe you're putting it there, maybe you're not using something that big, maybe you're using something a little bit smaller so that you can get closer to the ground and support that outer shoulder that's touching the floor. You could also put the bolster just underneath your face so that you're supporting that part of the neck and the head. But the general idea for this shape is to feel a stretch that would be similar to doing this type of stretch that you sometimes see people do when they're sitting at their office at the computer or something like that, and getting that arm stretch that they're looking for. So we're opening up the space between the shoulder and the spine, and then underneath the shoulder down the outer armpit, and then we might be feeling something that goes into the neck area, getting some kind of hiccups going on. So we're not going to stay in this pose for a super long time, just because I know when I'm in this posture, I don't want to stay for 5 minutes personally. It's a little too long. So we'll just stay here and we'll just breathe a few deeper breaths in and out, and we'll stay for about 1 more minute before we change sides of the posture. Now you can also change how the legs are positioned in this pose. One thing that I sometimes like to do is extend the opposite leg to the one of the arm. So what did I mean by that? So the right arm's underneath, the left leg would extend back. So that can be a nice way of kind of allowing the body to change its weight distribution because of how that leg is active and kind of curled under. So that's sometimes what I'll do, especially if we're doing this in like a flow class or something like that. I want it to be a little more active. So let's just stay up for about 5 more breaths. So you can close the eyes and concentrate on the feeling of your breathing in the chest and the stomach area. And then you're going to use your left palm and you're going to plant that down in the ground and just push down to bring yourself back up to hands and knees. And once you're in hands and knees, we're going to just change sides right away into the opposite side of needle pose. So we're going to reach up with the left arm, breathe in, and then breathe out, reach underneath. You're threading that needle, that gap between the right forearm and the right knee. And then you can bring the outer left side of the shoulder and outer tricep area onto that ground in a way that allows you to feel the left side, armpit and back body start to open up. Nice thing is, next thing we're going to do is something called reverse needle, and it gets into the chest. So we're really getting that target into the upper body now. You can use this moment of silence in these postures here as an opportunity to check in with your intention of how you're feeling or how you want to be feeling in these postures. So sending some thought down deeper into the heart and noticing if your heart has any way of calling out to you about what it's looking for or what it's needing of you. Take 5 more breaths, in and out through the nose. Then go ahead and plant your right palm down on the floor and push your way back up into tabletop position again so that you're back onto the hands and the knees and ready to do reverse needle. So for reverse needle, you're going to lay down right on the stomach, and then what you're going to do is reach out with one arm so that you can start to stretch the pectoral muscles. So we're going to reach with the right arm first. So right down onto the chest and stomach, reach out to the right side with the right arm. I got to move a little further away from the wall here. And then I'm going to take my left palm and plant it down next to my chest and push down into that palm into the ground. So I'm lifting my chest away from the floor. Then I'm going to take my left leg, lift it up in the air, and then behind my right knee so that my foot plants down back behind me. If that's not accessible, don't do it. Just keep the legs stacking on top of each other, kind of like this. But we want to be in a position that is comfortable, not strenuous. We could also take a bolster like this, and it would be kind of like a body pillow, and we're just going to kind of be on that body pillow a little bit as support. And that's going to help maybe something under the head like this, so that we can really target into the front chest and the front of the shoulder a little bit. If you're feeling it too much on the top of the shoulder, like it's pinching the top of the shoulder, I want you to walk your right arm down. And that might be a good way so that you can get it more into the pectoral muscle and explore that sensation. Again, not forever holding in this posture. Let's just stay together for another 30 seconds or so. So if that makes you want to move a little further, knowing that we're only in it for that long, you could do so. And we're always listening to our own body's call-outs in these postures, wanting to really listen to the way that it feels good for us. Let's let the chest come down towards the floor again. And then if you're bolstered up, you're going to just take that bolster out so that you can get all the way back down to the floor with your hips and chest, and then push yourself back up to tabletop. And just take a moment in a more neutral body position so you're not flat on the ground. And then we'll set up for the opposite side. So again, laying right down on the stomach. Feel free to move around in tabletop a little bit first, cat-cow, or just serpentine movements of the spine. And then eventually you're doing it on the opposite side. So let's go all the way down again onto the stomach. Left arm reaches out to the left. My right arm pushes right down next to the armpit and starts to lift the chest up to stretch that the left side chest. The head, left side of the head rests on the bolster. And you can put bolsters underneath the undersides of the shins as well, kind of like I had kind of just happened to work out. They were there. But it felt good. So that can be a really nice thing to do. The blanket underneath the hips can be really nice in this position as well, just so the hip bones have something to rest against. And then we're just really looking to get into that chest area, basically, stretching the chest. For me, this is a very tender area, and it's tough for me to stretch without it becoming, actually it gets kind of emotional when I'm stretching it. I kind of feel like the tension that's in that area creates like a bit of an emotional tension too. And that's normal. If that comes up for you in a yin pose, let it come and let it move through your body in whatever way it needs to. We'll just be in this posture for another 30 seconds. And again, kind of can't really pick up the guitar right now just because it's not a super long hold that we're here for. So concentrate on your breathing for the last 10 seconds. Close your eyes. This ability to breathe could help you in so many other ways in your life. You just might not know it at this moment, but when something happens and you're there and you can breathe, you'll be thankful that you have this practice in your back pocket. So let's come back to tabletop position. So just push your palms, or let your chest come back down to the floor, and push yourself back up to hands and knees in tabletop. We're then going to turn around to lay on the back, and our last two postures are going to be kind of very reclined postures. I'm going to demonstrate them both for you in succession so that I can get up and play some guitar. And then you can move from one to the next. So the first one we're going to do is supported corpse pose, or supported Shavasana. And yeah, I know, you'd think, oh, why is this coming later? Well, because the next one is really good to stay in for even longer if you can. So bolster behind the knees is the idea for this one. And then a bolster behind the head. So this is our supported Shavasana, supported corpse pose. I would want my knees lifted a little higher. So I maybe would put another thing underneath or on top of the bolster that I currently have. Then I'm going to show you the next posture that we're going to go into. So it's supported cobbler's pose, but the way that we do it is a little bit different. So we have something back here, and then we have something here. And you can see this creates this kind of angle for the spine to rest back on. Then I'm going to scooch my bum up towards the edge of that bolster. I'm going to take two other bolsters, blocks. You might be thinking, where do I get all this stuff? Well, you collect it over the years. One goes underneath this knee, one goes underneath this knee, and we go down onto the back. And these bolsters, we want to get close to the underside of the thigh and hip. Or else you're going to have to be taller if you're putting them under the knees. Because if I go out here and put my bolsters down, suddenly it's way too much of a stretch to get my knees to touch the bolster. And now the bolsters aren't doing anything. So for me to use the bolsters properly, I got to get them right up to the edge of my butt and then let the knees fall apart so that they can really get supported into that groin stretch. Then the arms are going to open up as well. And we're going to take the palms, if we have more pillows and blankets, or you might call your partner over and say, hey, I need 2 more pillows. And they're going to come by and put those pillows underneath of your hand on each side so that you can feel really supported, maybe under the elbows. And the whole body's just getting super, super comfortable. And so you choose when you want to go into either of those 2 postures. Since it's close to the end of class, it might be worth just moving into that second one that I just described, that very supported Cobbler's pose. It actually says it on my paper too, very supported Cobbler's pose. I wrote it 2 times on the page. I think I wanted to kind of drive that point home and say that this is really what we're focusing on here is that support structure. I'll play one of my own songs to finish off the night. This is a song that I wrote about the practice of yoga nidra. This is my soul bearing it whole. I won't fight in lovely fire. I will feed it, send in worries and all my troubles, and let the flames take it. Release it, release it. Release it, release it. Ascend staircase, this is my space. Purple flowers floating above purple flowers. Breathe in the sweet air, no toxins, warm air. Reflect water in a mirror, in a mirror. In a mirror, in a mirror. Here's where the dreams grow deep down so low. I won't fight it, lovely soil, I'm gonna seed it. Send in loving all of my passions, let the soil take it. Release it, release it. Release it, release it. Ascend staircase out of my space into our world. Carry with me all these lessons. Breathe in my brothers, breathe in my sisters. Reflect others. You're my mirror, you're my mirror. 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 What a nice song to end it with, I think. You are that to me. Like I don't need that yoga mirror per se anymore. It's just nice to have the support in this space, to have you support me support you. It's a really nice reciprocal relationship, and I'm so thankful to have you be here. I can't thank you enough for being part of the team, for joining into these live sessions when you can make them, for attending the recorded sessions when they work better for you. It's so awesome. Thank you again, and I hope you have a nice evening ahead of you. Share the love of Bolsters with the rest of your night. Bring one to the couch with you or wherever you're going next. Namaste. Take care.